match already between Trojan and Monkley, which Trojan won. This one today is going to be between UncleRonny and Shed. On commentary, my name is Grimelios, and I'm joined by Rory Rye. Hey, Rory.
Hey, Grim. How's it going?
It's going just fine. I'm excited. We don't get as many Ori matches these days because we've kind of gotten so many out of the way already. We have only 6 or something total sets of matches remaining.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just saw just how big that bracket was to the start, and we're almost at the conclusion of it, already down to the top 8.
That is right. To jump into some of the details, as I said, today's race is going to be UncleRonny versus Shed. I'm sure for anyone paying attention to the tournament, these are two names that you already know, but you can see the information on screen now. UncleRonny is seed number 2, but is currently the world record holder at 28:43. He actually got that world record time during this tournament, right at the beginning of the tournament. Elo had it. Does that sound right, Roy?
It's either Elo or Wilson. Those 3 have been fighting for that top spot for a while now.
Well, Ronnie has it right now. The point is that he's good. That 28:43 time is not only sub 30, but it's sub 29. In contrast, Shed has a 29:53, which is still a phenomenal time. I mean, it's pretty crazy to say that someone as good as Shed, he's one of only 12 people in the world who has a sub 30. It's pretty crazy to think that Shed is still expected to lose this one, just because Ronnie is such a ridiculous beast of an opponent. I mean, it's not like Ronnie's guaranteed to necessarily get close to that 28:43, but Shed is going to be treating these like PB attempts because he might have to PB twice or get very close to it in order to have a hope at winning both matches.
Right, and I know we've seen some really, really good consistency out of Ronnie this tournament as well. He's been putting up these 29s, etc., just all the time in these races. So Shed's really going to have to be on top of his game, I think, in order to make it close and to take it to game 3.
That's right. It's almost funny for a match of this caliber. I mean, you would expect the runners to be this good given that we're into our quarterfinals and everything, but there's almost not that much to say, you know? Like, both Ronnie and Shed are just ridiculously amazing. If nobody makes a mistake, Ronnie will likely walk away with a victory, and that's something that Shed sort of expects. He expects to be just a little bit behind for the whole race. But if either one of them makes even a relatively small mistake, you know, that could turn the tide. Shed is close enough to Ronnie that if Ronnie takes 1 or 2 bad deaths, Shed could, I don't want to say easily, but he could definitely take the victory.
Yep, and I think Shed said that he's sort of expecting this to go 2-0. So I think if he were to be able to push this to a game 3, that'd be really, really good. Really exciting to see that. So
it absolutely would. We'll be getting the race kicked off very shortly. Our restreamer Smashy just exited the SRL race, so we're going to get the race counted down. We're going to wait for Twitch delay to do its thing, and then we'll be getting kicked off. As always, I wouldn't expect to see anything particularly special in the early game. You know, even someone like Ronnie, there's only so much you can do to optimize running left.
Right. I think maybe the most crazy thing that we could see would be some color codes that we could talk about, but I don't even know if they'll be up for that. You know, if you get a bad color, you're just done sometimes.
Right. The color code is fun. It has no functional impact on the run, of course. It's all just cosmetic, but it's like, this race is important enough that you might just want to, you know, not mess with it. Just kidding. We got a color code. Shed actually did get that bad, like, dark purple background color for just a second. Thankfully, he changed it back. Ronnie, meanwhile, has sort of a light sky blue, sort of a calm color, I think.
Yeah, I think fortunately we have 2 bright colors here because right at the start you have like 10 or 12 seconds where you can just do it over and over again until you get a color that you want.
Yeah. Anyway, yep, we're off to the left. This is a part of the game that we've all seen a million times in a row. Bait the Rhino. Rhino gets squished by the rocks that he bashes into. We're going to go pick up sign. We're going to take them out. Both Ronnie and Shed are playing on keyboard mouse, as almost all runners at this level are. Not all of them, but most runners play on KBM at this level. And just in general. I think the leaderboard has to be majority KBM at this point.
I feel like it is at this point, especially as you get towards these top times. It just seems so much more efficient.
That's right.
You get these advantages like the scroll wheel shooting that approaches that task level of frame perfect.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Shed maybe missed like one single shot, so you can see that put him just maybe, I don't know, second and a half, 2-ish seconds behind. Still not much to be concerned about. I mean, every single second counts, especially in a race where the runners are this good and will likely not make many mistakes over the course of the entire run. But it still is only like 2 seconds. Shed also, unfortunately, got some poor RNG on the little bouncy flower and had to wait for an animation. That's another second or second and a half or whatever.
Yeah, just getting that animation, just little slight setback, but he's only going to be a little bit behind. And he said himself that he was expecting to be behind coming up to wall jump.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I think that the damage on both Ronnie and Shed is it's fine. It's not something I would expect to be messed up. The only question during this section is, are you going to get an unlucky health drop? Looks like Ronnie actually did. That was a 2 health ghost ore. Shed had 1, so just like that, Shed is virtually caught up. Ronnie is like frames ahead.
Very, very slightly ahead.
That's right. I have to imagine that was probably a health drop from Ronnie.
Yeah, I think it was. I think the slime that that they kill right before the keystone dropped health for Ronnie, because I saw him get the pickup animation.
Yep. There's very, very little RNG in this entire all skills speedrun, like almost none, which is, in my opinion, something that makes it such a great run. But the wall jump split has a little bit of it, mainly in the form of these drops. And it doesn't cost you much, it only costs you a few seconds, but like a few seconds, again, this race is going to be close enough that that might end up mattering.
That's a very good point. So both of them did opt to grab this extra safety health early, so just nice damage boosts through the bramble wall on the way down. Shed gonna go for the flower skip there.
Mm-hmm. Nice job by him again, just maybe catching a hair of time. Ronnie is going to get to wall jump first as expected, but no bad deaths, no mistakes before wall jump, which has to just be a relief on both sides. I'll also say that both Ronnie and Shed are watching the restream, so both of them know that their opponent hasn't faced an unfortunate fate quite yet.
And I'd imagine that they're more happy that they themselves haven't faced an unfortunate fate.
I was just watching a Castlevania run at a Calathon, and so that kind of phrasing, like unfortunate fate, I think is just like spinning in my head. But Ronnie just grabs some XP, he's gonna level up on the way up. Shed doing the exact same thing. Ronnie again on the left with just a few seconds over Shed as they sort of jump up. Neither player got Trojan logged, which is also good news. Thank you, Trojan, for not stealing the soul all the way from Calathon.
He's busy with his marathon runs.
Dude, that was a good race yesterday. For anyone who hasn't watched it, go watch Trojan's Calathon race from last night. That's all I'll say about it, but go watch it.
I need to go back and watch that later tonight when I have time. But right now, we need to watch this race, where Ronnie has just edged out a little bit of a slight lead. Not going to opt for this free safety save here. He's pretty confident in this.
That's right. Shed did make the safety save, though, and just to be extra clear, I'm sure that most people watching know this, but when we say that the save is free, we're meaning that you have the energy to spare. Like, making the save doesn't cost you any additional time or really much of anything, because you get a level up pretty shortly, regardless.
All right, and it's not like you're using that energy for movement or anything at this point in the game.
That's right. So Blackroot Burrows, very dark and spooky zone, etc., etc. I expect... Interesting, Ronnie's not going for Slime Genocide. I actually thought that he did. I guess that's my mistake for not knowing. Shed is going for Slime Genocide, so you'll see Shed taking out all of these slimes. So right now it's going to cost Shed just an extra little bit of time here and there. So Ronnie, for the moment, gained a little bit of a lead, but Ronnie's going to have to jump up high to an experience orb in just a few seconds. Here he's going for it right now. And Shed is going to be able to skip that one.
Shed also got a nice first frame pickup on that orb.
And would you look... Sorry to interrupt you. Would you look at that?
Yeah, Shed is now just dead even.
Mm-hmm. That is one of the very nice benefits of Slime Genocide, despite the routes as a whole being a little bit more difficult. It does just give you a little bit of a lead. Looks like Shed didn't quite get the perfect laser cycles. He's still going to get his platform cycle. Yes, he is. Good job getting over there. So that's fine.
Because he got that cycle without having to reload, he's a little bit ahead again.
Shed did say that he was going to be treating these races like PB attempts, and so far, I have to imagine this would be a pretty solid PB attempt. Shed really hasn't made any mistakes so far. He got, what, like 1 or 2 off, like, random health drops going to wall jump. That's about it. And that's not even a mistake. That's RNG.
Right, and that is only just frames of difference.
Shed getting into this dash room did get his cycle, so his manipulation from the previous room was correct, as was Ronnie's. We are virtually tied, standing on the same platform in the dash room. Shed just moments ahead. Holy cow, Rory.
This is really kind of incredible that it's going to be this close coming up to the second real skill.
That's right. I'll also take a moment and point out that for anyone familiar with the developments in the Ori speedrun, there's something you can do here known as the cutscene stack, which is a slightly different way to move through these cutscenes, which results in some blind movement exiting Black Group Burrows. It's something that Ronnie used to do, but he told us that he stopped doing it, presumably because it's just, oh, look at that sync.
Whew, Ronnie's slightly ahead on that reload.
This is insane.
Wow. And another thing that I just want to point out, I looked at their experience. Ronnie has less experience to level than Shed does, so his level up on Frankie Walk is going to come faster.
What a race when the level up speed on Frankie Walk matters. Not whether you get it or not, just like it's going to be frames faster.
And Shed, of course, has to stop and grab a little bit more experience because of the Slime Genocide route. So Ronnie pulling a little bit further ahead on the way to Frankie Walk.
That's right. Frankie Walk and the Death Gauntlet are still dangerous sections of the run, even for runners of this caliber. Like, I wouldn't expect to see any errors, but it can happen. Shed, in particular, said that he was a little bit worried about the Death Glide, which is a small optional time save you can do within the Death Glide. Within the Death Gauntlet. So hopefully it doesn't give Shed any grief if he decides to go for it.
We have too many things with death in the name.
We do. Shed also didn't get his optimal, or hoptimal as we like to call it, Frankie cycle. Not going to cost him much. It's going to cost him one hop on the Frankie. Just a little bit of extra time. Shed got his level up, so we have simultaneous Death Gauntlets. Ronnie is the first through. He's going to do his Death Gauntlet. Got through fine without taking damage. Shed right on his heels. This is something Shed was worried about. And he... oh, God.
I'm so glad that he had health there.
That was not an easy save for Shed. There are a lot of brambles there, and he did a good job of catching a section of the wall that did not have a bramble on it. So it lost Shed time, which is not good, but he didn't die. So that's really wonderful.
Oh, and Ronnie missed his grotto cycle. This is a chance for Shed to make up 8 seconds.
This is big. This is big. It's not going to be enough for Shed to gain the lead, but come on, Shed. Come on, you can do this.
Oh, no.
So close. That trick is very precise. So that's going to, keep the lead about even. It would have been a nice opportunity for Shed, but he will have others to catch up. Ronnie, despite missing, well, apart, I should say, from missing that grotto cycle, really hasn't made any mistakes so far. He even nailed a perfect death glide. So Ronnie's going to be getting to double jump first with a rather ludicrous time. What is that, a 9:18?
Yeah, that's insane. Like, I can't even achieve those times in categories that don't do Frankie Walk sometimes.
Well, he is a world record holder after all. Ronnie also did his blind movement. Let's see how he did. Got way up on the wall. So well done in the blind movement. Shed is also taking his blind movement right now as well. Hopefully will not take a dip in the poison water. We don't want to go for a swim. We want to climb the walls. Did take damage, but Shed should be okay.
Unfortunately, there is a spiked ceiling there, and we don't like to hit it, but fortunately, no more intentional damage for quite a while.
That's right, and while we were talking there, Ronnie just pulled off a first try grotto skip. Not the most difficult jump in the game, but still a little bit precise, and it's a nice one to get first try. This trick can infinite you a little bit if you mess it up because the platform starts swinging. So Ronnie got it first try. Shed did not get it first try or second try.
Come on, Shed.
This is what I mean with the trick infiniting you. It gets in your head. The Shed is through, just bleeding little bits of time here and there. So far, the results that we're seeing are not unexpected. Shed did expect to be a little bit behind, and that's what we're seeing. He's not a lot behind, he's a little bit behind. The question is Ronnie going to make a mistake to allow Shed to capitalize and gain back some of that time?
Yeah, I think that is really going to be the thing on, not just on our mind, but on Shed's mind at this point.
And remember, he's watching the restream. So both Ronnie and Shed, at least when they have the opportunity to glance down at their screens or different monitors or whatever, they will know the state of the race. Shed just picking up his water vein is going to start this climb up to the Ginsu tree. Ronnie is quite a bit further, heading up these walls. We're also seeing some nice ninja jumps on both sides, which is something we don't often see in races because it's difficult to do ninja jumps in a way that saves a lot of time. But you can save time on them if you're really, really good.
which of course both of these two are really, really good. There's a reason why they're both top 10 in the world.
Mm-hmm. Also interesting that Ronnie skipped the ability cell. It is indicative of something we knew he was going to be going for, which is the crazy juggle way later in Sorrow. So that's going to gain Ronnie some additional time right now, and if he pulls off a clean C juggle later, it will, continue gaining him time. Shed is not going to go for crazy juggle because it's a very difficult trick, and if you don't absolutely flawlessly nail your crazy juggle, it loses you time.
Right, and Shed instead going to opt for the much more consistent, if slightly slower, Terror Break route, so that'll be a chance for Ronnie to gain some extra lead if he nails it first try, but if he makes a mistake, Shed could very easily pull back a lot of time there.
That's right, and speaking of pulling back time, Ronnie on the entrance to Ginso, you see this cutscene that Shed is just skipping with a rekindled cutscene skip. Ronnie actually missed that one. Thank you to Snoopy for bringing that to our attention. It's not a major time loss, but I feel like I'm a broken record. Unless we have like a really catastrophic death in the late game, most deaths and most time losses are not going to be major. It's just a question of, little bits of time here and there. So Shed did gain a little bit of time back on that split as a result, probably.
But of course, that movement on that split is just insanely hard to optimize, so he could very well have still lost time.
Also, I forgot about Grotto Skip. Whatever, it's fine. We're moving on. Shed making it through the second room. Meanwhile, Ronnie is doing some fun little jumping around since you have to wait for these cycles on this flower anyway. So Ronnie is going to be getting to his mini-boss first. Hopefully, he'll be able to take it out in clean 5 cycles. It's possible to do 4 as well, but it's very, very difficult. I guess we'll see what happens.
So if he gets 10 shots on each cycle, it looks like he did. Doesn't look like he got it there. Rip the 4 cycle.
That's okay. Also missed that cycle, maybe didn't quite catch the tell, or maybe decided to just let it respawn. Not giving Ronnie very good spawns. This is good news for Shed, though. The RNG is working in Shed's favor a little bit.
Wow, that is 3 lower right spawns. That's just... Oh no!
Holy cow. That's huge. Shed is now in the lead. Ronnie was at lower health than he thought he was. Ordinarily, when you beat this mini-boss, you jump in the spikes and take some intentional damage to set up an intentional ghost or death. Ronnie apparently was not aware of his health, so then took a death and another quick death when he started. And Shed did not even get the bad luck that Ronnie did, so just like that, we have a lead change on our hands.
But even then, it's not a very big lead change.
No, it is not, and we have a lot of run left. Overall, we would probably expect Ronnie's movement to be just a hair cleaner than Shed's. So this lead is surmountable, even if Shed doesn't mess up.
Right, like, just the fact that he took that mini-boss out, like, what, 2.25 times?
Yeah.
And is still only seconds behind.
That's just sort of bad luck from Ronnie. I mean, the death is not, technically luck. That is an error on his part. But he also got really terrible spawns, so just an unfortunate series of events, I think. But yeah, Shed has his lead. Both runners have picked up Bash, so we're going to be heading up towards the key dupe and the top of Ginso, which we will, of course, not be finishing. Shed pulling out the double bashes. I would expect to see Ronnie do exactly the same. I'm always impressed that KBM runners can get that angle on the bottom shot with the double bash.
that angle gives me trouble. It's something. But so, something that I want to bring up is that Shed, like we said, is watching the restream, and something that he said before the race was that if he sees Ronnie making mistakes, it'll give him motivation to go faster.
That's right. And so far, that's what we're seeing. Also, Shed got a nice clean key dupe. Ronnie did as well. Both of them had their saves on the second platform, which saves you a little bit of time over the older method of doing it. Shed also, oh my god, nice job surviving that. Went for a sort of more advanced strat, which we see Ronnie going for as well, but missed it. Ronnie had to drop down and do some more bashes. That's a few seconds for Shed as well.
But at least Ronnie didn't die there. If he had taken a death there, that could have been just catastrophic.
It's good awareness by Ronnie. It's not that his save was difficult, like, from a mechanical perspective, but he didn't panic. He just said, all right, I took damage, didn't get the jump that I wanted, I'm just going to fall down. Like you said, lose, like, 3 seconds, as opposed to a lot more than that.
It's just awareness to realize, no, there is a bash lantern below me, I will fall on top of it, and I will bash it.
It's just that easy.
But...
Anyway, so...
Swamp entry.
Swamp entry.
What do you think?
I think they're going to nail it. I just think they're going to absolutely nail it. Shed is going for the blind movement. We'll see if Ronnie also goes for the blind movement.
I would I would expect to see them both nail it as well, but you
Yeah.
could very easily shake up the lead.
Well, here we go. Shed has made it to the frog. Got 2 bashes. Here's a double bash to bring it up. Remember that on keyboard mouse, you have the luxury of easier double bashes, allowing this method of swamp entry. Shed baited 1 shot, and the second shot, there it is. I think he actually had some very nice angling. The shot kind of phased through for a moment, but nice job by Shed. Meanwhile, Ronnie had some issues with it. Nailed it the second try. Yes, with no phasing, we are through. But Shed is just gaining time. Shed is already through the door with a nice hyperspeed heading up to the stomp tree. Ronnie also getting through the door. I'm sure that he probably nailed that hyperspeed too. Yep, there it is. So still not a lot of time, but Shed is not giving Ronnie any room to breathe.
Ronnie just going for that nice little jump on the left side of that platform.
That always looks pretty cool.
Yeah, just showing off a little bit of swag movement there. But both just a skill tree animation apart.
This is insane. So Rory, looking forward to the future, what do you think you might expect to see going forward? Like right now, since Shed is in the lead, the question is Shed going to make a mistake? Whereas before Ronnie had to mess up. If Shed is going to make a mistake, where do you think it would be most likely that he does?
Sorrow. I'm just going to say Sorrow. He said before the race that he was worried about the spikes on the way to charge jump. I hope he doesn't make any mistakes, but that area is not easy to traverse, so we'll see what happens.
That's right. Speaking of seeing what happens, let's see if Shed can not see this cutscene. Well done. Bashing straight through. The positioning is the most important aspect. Actually, it's not. Probably the bash is the most important aspect, but Shed got through. Ronnie also got through. Not unexpected to see them both nail what is a more precise cutscene skip than it looks. Shed also has to do a stomp stall in midair in order to avoid death to the insta-kill spikes. Ronnie just grabbed the same cell. Ronnie is still not far behind, despite... I feel like Ronnie should be a little bit further behind, and he's not. I think that's a testament to Ronnie's execution.
Yeah, his execution on this movement just all throughout this early game has just been at such a high level, and it's showing in the fact that he is not far behind despite those mistakes.
It's not any strat differences either. It's just you save a quarter second on this wall and a half second on this wall, and it adds up. Shed is still in the lead, got to charge flame first, opened up the save anywhere, the same save anywhere that Ronnie has open over on the left. Shed is going to be using it, got his nice dash glide over the spirit tree cutscene. Ronnie is just right on his heels. Although Ronnie did not get his dash glide, so he had to kind of back out and do it again. This is costing quite a bit of time.
Yeah, but this is time that can all be made up, not even if Shed doesn't make a mistake, but just based on the route differences in Sorrow.
That's right. We'll see if Ronnie later on can pull off a nice C juggle. But Shed, there's a nice double bash using the frog to get up a little bit higher, had a little bit of an error on his air dashes, but not too big a deal. Also used that frog again. That's a little more of an advanced strat to save not a lot of time at all. Fast Stompless is the next major trick coming up, where, as always, we're going to be grabbing a Spire Projectile and using it to break the rocks above Kuro in an unexpected way. Shed hasn't missed Fast Stompless at all. I really hope he can continue the trend.
He's going to need to. He needs to just keep this execution basically perfect for the rest of this run.
Shed didn't get his first shot the way that he liked it, but he did get the second shot. Dashing out of the way. Come on. Yes. Okay. That scared me for a minute. Shed got to the cell too fast.
Ronnie's shot looks good, but then again, you know, what do we know?
It's impossible to predict these shots, dude. You pretend that you predicted it correctly. So, like, now that they both got it, we can say confidently, yeah, we knew that the shots were great.
Exactly.
That's just the way that it works. I mean, that is another... It's not something we would expect them to mess up, but it's nice to see them both get it correctly. Shed has Feather, he'll be unlocking Charge Dash, and here's where the run really starts to get hot and spicy and go really, really fast. Like, we're about to head into Sorrow, we just have to get through Sorrow Bash first. Rory, this is the area where you predicted we might see some mistakes, and I guess we'll see what happens.
I hope we don't see mistakes. Partly because I want to see just a really, really clean race, and also partly because I want to, like, illustrate the route differences that we're about to see.
That's right. So pay attention to Shed. Shed right now is going to go up top. Did not break that barricade. Has to get it again. So now Shed is going to do a rocket jump. Well, actually, he's not. So Shed is down in energy and has to waste time floating up. Ronnie, breaking the same barricade, is going to use his frog and immediately go into his crazy juggle. Pay attention to the left side. Every single one of these stomp cancels is like a 2, maybe 3 frame trick at maximum. He can't mess up a single one. And if he nails it, he's up to the top. Flawless execution by Ronnie. That probably gained him back the lead, although right now we have a tiny bit of a route discrepancy. Ronnie's going up first, whereas Shed is going to charge jump first, but they'll sort of sync back up when they exit.
Yep, and both behind the ability menu here for different reasons.
What are those reasons, Rory?
Shed setting up for his Terror Break. Oh no, looks like he took a death behind that menu. Gets reset right back to the charge jump tree, so not a huge deal. But he's going to come over and use this stored ability menu to perform his Terror Break, whereas Ronnie only needed to use 1 to save anywhere to skip the Sunstone.
Ronnie got zapped by lasers, though, so that's kind of funny. Not funny in the haha, laugh at it sense, because it's sad, but Ronnie died to his lasers going down, whereas Shed died quickly coming out of charge jump. And Ronnie died again. That one is quite a bit more major. I did say a moment ago that Ronnie probably gained the lead due to his really nice crazy juggle. I don't think that's the case anymore with those deaths. I think Shed is going to be exiting Misty first. Or exiting Star, excuse me.
Actually, I'm not convinced. Shed still hasn't done the reload here. Okay, there it goes. This is going to be really close.
Now I'm not convinced either. Shed does have to make it past some lasers as well. Made a quick pit stop for some additional experience. Even if Shed exits Sorrow first, it's still going to be really close. Yeah, so Shed has a little bit of a lead since Ronnie's about to start going down the same vertical shaft. Shed also has to avoid a death via the little elbow of spikes at the bottom.
Okay, and he's just going to take it safe and go for that glide there at the end. Okay, Ronnie does also choose to take it safe.
Dude, this race is absolutely delivering right now. Shed is into Misty Woods. He's just going to be flying through at a breakneck pace. If anyone has maybe never seen Misty Woods in this speedrun before, you're going to get to see it in about as flawless of a fashion as you will ever see from any runner on the planet. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I absolutely love watching these high-level runners go through Misty Woods because they just throw in so many stomp cancels and charge dashes all over the place.
That's right. Interesting that both Shed and Ronnie opted to turn on their user interface momentarily. They'll be turning it off when required, but they have it on because there's no dialogue for the most part to skip in Misty Woods, and it's nice as a sanity check just to be able to see your health and energy. Reminder that the spikes here don't one-shot you since they only deal 3 damage, but they're still pretty scary because they leave you at only 1 health. Look at this. Shed made it to climb, no mistakes. Ronnie made it to climb as well, maybe like the tiniest of mistakes. So Shed still has the lead.
And they're still in the same skill tree animation at the same time. This is absolutely nuts.
Man, I don't know what to expect, Rory. They're both just playing out of their minds. It's so cool.
Yeah, I really want to know what's going through Shed's head right now. Like, he was expecting to be behind for the entire race, but no, he's keeping up. He has the lead.
Well, I mean, like, the race isn't over yet, so, we'll see what happens, but credit to Shed. Credit to Ronnie for playing like a madman, but also credit to Shed for, he's treating this like a PB attempt. He knew that he had to play at his absolute best. Oh my god, I'm going to interrupt myself. Ronnie just died.
Oh my god. Okay.
Got sent all the way back. That is the most costly mistake that we've seen in this race so far. It might single-handedly be enough to hand Shed the victory.
Yeah, that if Shed doesn't make any mistakes, and Shed knows that this happened, just to be clear, I would expect Shed to start taking safety strats now if I were him.
He did say that he wasn't. No, go
he
ahead.
has a huge lead.
I think I would agree with you. He said he wasn't going to go for safety, but at this point, I also don't think he expected something like that. Ronnie did take damage. He's down to 1 health. I would expect to see Ronnie take a save. Yep, there it is. If Ronnie dies here, he will lose out on that extra energy, by the way, but hopefully he won't have any more issues. So Shed is leaving Misty Woods, whereas Ronnie, nice rocket jump up the top. He's only at 3 health, so touching any of these spikes would kill him, but being the professional that he is, he dodged all of them. We'll also see if Ronnie can get his quick kill on the mini-boss, making it look easy. So Shed has a nice... What is... Oh, I was confused for a moment on Shed's screen, but we're okay. We're okay.
He was just setting up that mini storage a little bit early, it looked like. I've seen a few people do that, and it looks really weird because you see the teleport like going off behind the screen, but you don't realize it necessarily.
This is just insane, Rory. Ronnie, even right there, had just the smallest little error coming out, so he's down, I think, 1 energy than what he was supposed to be, I think. It won't really matter, probably, but, like, Shed is just not slowing down. Made it through his old-fashioned father cutscene, used that long-held save anywhere to skip the cutscene, pulling out stop cancels, throwing all his energy into as much speed as possible, pretty much avoiding all safety. Made it to light grenade. We'll see if Shed decides to go for a bunch of grenade jumps, but right now it's Shed's game to lose. Shed just has to keep playing clean, and Ronnie conversely has to play out of his mind if he wants to try to win this one.
Yep, that's very true. I like I said, I really want to see Shed like take this safe. I think he's just going to be going all out now.
I mean, look at those rocket jumps. Shed has a very nice exit, does have to avoid the boulder here, the Indiana Jones section, or the Raziel No area, as we sometimes call it, based off of a bit of a meme from the last tournament. Shed made it through, did not touch the boulder, didn't die, he's teleporting. Shed just has to rush over to Horu. Shed did take a moment to mouse over his health and energy. To me, it looks fine, but what do I know? Shed's faster than me.
Yeah. So, update from our stats guys. Shed 3 seconds behind his PB.
This is unreal.
He is on pace for a 29.
Shed's also sticking 5 health, not going for 6. He could afford the safety given the lead that he has, but Shed is just going to say, nope, I'm going to prove that I can do well. Oh my god. Left side, Ronnie just died and got sent all the way back to the light grenade tree. That's the second brutal death for Ronnie.
I wonder if Shed's going to try to skip the grenade jump.
In a race like this, I think that would be a smart decision. On the other hand, Shed suddenly has enough of a lead that he could probably fail the final escape and still do it again. And if Shed is this close to PB, he might want the race PB.
I think he's going to go for the race PB, frankly.
I think so too. Although Shed, okay, got a second try. That's a relief. Got a second try door warp. I don't know what door warp Shed got on his PB. Also pulling out the actual intended grenade bash strats just for a moment there. That's kind of funny. So all eyes to the right. Let's see if Shed can finish this out strong. I think Shed has enough of a lead, like you said, Ronnie, to avoid the grenade jump if he wants to, but I doubt he will.
I think he'll be going for it. He definitely has the advantage. This is Shed's race to lose right now. All he has to do is make it through here clean. But if he makes a mistake, Ronnie will be right back on his tail.
Shed has not had optimal execution here. It's okay, he doesn't need it. But he's not playing this perfectly. Did avoid damage, which is good. He's down to only 1 energy. So if Shed goes for this grenade jump, he's not going to have many attempts, although he also might not need more than 1 attempt. Here's the poison water, does only have 5 health. Got out of the water. That's a relief, especially playing on keyboard.
Oh, spawns Kuro. Oh no! No! Shed's still in the lead. He's still in the lead. But now he has to grenade jump. There's no question now.
Ronnie, by the way, did get a first try grenade jump, or first try door warp, excuse me, to point this out. Shed doesn't have the option to skip it anymore. If Shed makes any more mistakes, he's also burning energy. Shed does still have 1 energy, has to make it through his poison swim with 5 health once again, and then he has to nail his grenade jump, maybe first or, well, he only gets 2 attempts at it, really. At least attempts that use energy. Shed is in the poison water. Made it out the second time.
Doesn't spawn Kuro this time.
You can take it from here, Rory. I'm
Crisis averted. Doesn't spawn Kuro. He's setting up this grenade jump, and hopefully he'll get it first try. Oh no! If he misses this second time and burns that energy, okay, he gets it.
And there's no soft lock. Oh my god. Okay, so assuming we didn't get some bizarre scenario, Shed still is going to win race number 1, despite dying in the final escape and missing 1 attempt. Ronnie made it through cleanly and pulled off a very, very fast grenade jump, faster than Shed's. So you're right, if Shed had missed that, he would have lost the race because Ronnie would have taken over in the grenade jump. Unreal race, an unreal performance by Shed to keep up that pace. It's not going to be a PB, I'm sure, but what a performance.
This is looking like within a minute of his PB, and still a 30. That's incredible for a race performance.
I think Shed should be very proud of that one. I mean, and Ronnie still played extremely well. I mean, to make the mistakes that Ronnie did and to still only be this close behind. Let's see if I can do math. What is that? 15 seconds?
Yeah.
15 seconds behind with those deaths that Ronnie had.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the closest races that we've had this tournament.
You're not wrong. I mean, Shed did fail the final escape, so that's part of the reason why it's this close. It wasn't all due to Ronnie's execution. But, I mean, even earlier in the race, we saw Ronnie creeping back time all over the place just due to execution. So Shed does have one victory under his belt. That will be not only just a huge relief for him, but even if Ronnie wins the next 2 games, I think Shed will walk away very proud. He expected to lose, and he's at least going to make Ronnie sweat for this.
Absolutely, and it is now extremely likely that we could see a Game 3. I would love to see a Game 3 here, personally.
I would love to as well. If we were at a live event, I would tell everyone to give a round of applause, even though we still have more races to go. That was phenomenal. Great race. Very, very close. I love that, what was it, at the reload before dash, we were like frame synced or something. It was like...
Yeah.
Or maybe that was stop. It was ridiculous.
It stayed close for so long, up through like the early and the mid game, and then couple mistakes on Ronnie's side, couple mistakes on Shed's side, and it came back.
Well, as we said, this is a best of 3. That is 1 race down. Shed has the victory. If Shed wins the next one, he will win the set of matches and advance to the semifinals. But we have another race coming up. We are going to take our race for a few minutes. I can't speak anymore. You're going to have to save me, Rory.
We're going to take a bit of a breather for a few minutes so that Grim can speak again.
Thank you.
And so that our racers can sort of wind down after that. Shed said his heart was just racing after that victory. So
I think mine would be too.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to be just stepping away for just a few minutes, let our racers recover, let us recover, and then we will be back with Game 2 in this best of 3.
See you soon.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Game 2 between UncleRonny and Shed in the quarterfinals of the Ori All Skills Tournament. Once again, I'm Rory Ryan commentary. Grim, welcome back. How's it going?
Thanks. It's going good. I'm very excited to see Shed up one race, and I don't know what else to say, dude. I mean, like, that first race was insane. Everyone just watched it. If you didn't, well, then hopefully you get another race coming up that will be as exciting.
Yeah, I feel like I barely had time to catch my breath in that break that we took.
I don't think I breathed during the whole final escape, so I can only imagine, playing the game while also in that status. But yes, Shed is up one race. Again, this is a best of 3. No silly shenanigans, just a straight up best of 3. So if Shed wins this, he will advance to face the winner of Elo, Gemini, and Sigma. If Ronnie wins, then we will go on to a game 3.
And I can't speak for them, but personally, I want to see game 3.
Me too. Sometimes what the runners want and what we as commentators and viewers want don't align. But thankfully, like, they don't have to listen to us while we talk, so we can say whatever we want without having to worry about, messing with them too much. It's
Exactly.
great.
It's great. And I know
they can judge us later, but that's later's problem.
Right. We'll deal with that when it happens. Ronnie, for his part, I'm sure certainly wants to go to game 3 right now because he has to take it 3 in order to have a hope of winning.
That is correct. I think we'll be getting the race kicked off quite shortly, just making sure that our runners are ready to go. I am glad that we took a break for a few minutes. I mean, you've done plenty of runs and races in your time, Rory. You know how much it can just raise your heart rate and everything by the end of a run like that. It's just so tense.
Yeah, it really is just it's something. But
it certainly is.
Game 2 here, do or die for Ronnie. Shed has a little bit of breathing room here. So I wonder how this is going to affect his mindset and his strategies in this race.
It's tricky, right? I mean, Ronnie's strategies are clearly just fine in principle because he has world record. Shed's are also fine. Even if Shed had lost, I would argue that he doesn't necessarily need to change anything. Shed won that game for the same reasons anyone wins any race. Shed just played better with fewer mistakes overall. Maybe on a moment-to-moment basis, Ronnie has the advantage, but Shed just overall had cleaner play. Shed just has to do that. Again, I think this is basically going to be like a mental reset. Pretend it's the first race of the day, just sit down and do another run.
Yeah, I think that's what it needs to be for both of them, really, because Shed was not expecting to win that first race, so he needs to not let that get to him, and he needs to be able to reset and just play his game again.
It's
and
something
Ronnie,
that sorry, go ahead.
Ronnie needs to make sure that loss doesn't get in his.
That's right. I mean, Ronnie was gaining back time over and over again. It's kind of funny, actually. I think my younger brothers, I remember I used to watch a lot of their soccer games, and their team was always way better than my team was. And they always had this thing that they would say, every time they'd scored, it'd be really interesting. I'd hear them all run back and say 0-0, guys, 0-0. Even if they scored the first goal of the game, 0-0. Don't let the lead get to your head. Just 0-0. Keep playing the same game. What Shed just did was enough to win. He just has to do it again. Granted, also some elements were out of Shed's control, like Ronnie's mistakes, but I feel like we're beating a dead horse. The point is that they just have to play well. We know they're capable of it. Can they pull it off under pressure? We'll find out.
Yes, we certainly will, and hopefully we'll be getting underway in just a few minutes here. A few moments. Just
That's right.
Waiting to make sure that everything is fully set up.
So, Rory, I have a question. What color of Ori would you like to see from our runners?
I would like to see the legendary yellow Ori.
Oh, dude. For me, I'm all about green Ori. Just Bulbasaur green Ori.
I quite like green Ori too. The yellow's far less common.
It kind of matches, This is a game about a forest. Forests are kind of green sometimes. I.e., Ori should be green. Ori is also a leaf, so yes. There's another point in my favor.
But we are also in the Soul division here.
That's a good
Soul,
point.
the sun is yellow.
Insightful commentary, Rory. Insightful.
Truly, I don't know what else we would do in these first stages of the game if we didn't have color codes to talk
Well,
about.
Okay, honestly, it's like there's not that much to talk about. Oh, we got pink. You know, I'll deal with pink. There's a sale at Target today where they had bags filled with just only pink Starbursts, and I almost bought one, and I didn't, but now I kind of regret it because I'm just like staring at this pink juicy. Anyway,
Maybe that's how Ori becomes pink, just eating too many Starbursts.
yeah, that's probably how it happens. I mean, I don't think this forest has to obey, real laws of physics or anything. So here we go. We're running, we're jumping, no mistakes so far. I mean, you wouldn't expect any mistakes. That last race, Shed actually dropped a shot in this upcoming Frankie fight, lost him like a few seconds. Very, very minor points, but maybe something to clean up.
Yeah, it's hopefully Sign doesn't troll either of our runners here.
I hope not. Now Shed is now Shed looks like a sweet tart. I'm really hungry. Anyway. Yep, so Ronnie, again, just had a slightly better fight. Shed didn't have any, mistakes in that fight. Ronnie just with, I hesitate to say whether it's even a half second at this point. We're basically completely tied. Oh, yeah, and Ronnie is kind of green, isn't he?
Yeah, so Ronnie just got the 1-frame jump over the Bramble. He actually got that in the last race, too.
2 for 2, not bad. Interesting that we also got the double animation from getting a collectible for the first time on the flower. Last time only Shed got that. So last time coming into wall jump, Ronnie got there in the lead, I think, and Shed just had slightly better execution due to his 1 health ghost door. So hopefully we can get a double 1 health ghost door this time.
Yeah, it looks like Ronnie didn't get a health drop there this time. So hopefully he'll be at the correct amount of HP. We will see momentarily. No. That was a much more than 1 health ghost door.
It was. I mean, we have sort of a mirror situation on our hands. Ronnie got to the door first, and then Shed just gained a little bit of that time back.
Yep, and we're going to see... Of course, I don't know whether Shed has gotten a health pickup. I haven't been able to see that. But if not, then he'll get a 40-frame pickup animation down here in just a moment.
That's right. Interesting, too, that Ronnie just missed some of that experience from the flower. Like, when you break open a flower and all the XP pops out, you don't collect it instantaneously. It takes, a very, very short amount of time. So sometimes if you're too quick, it drops away. Ronnie should be fine. He has his UI on, so he can see exactly the XP level that he's at. Yeah, he doesn't need to bother going out of his way.
He has that energy drop there that he's going to pick up.
Now, this is interesting. Ronnie's going to level up on the way down. I don't think he meant to. It looks like he tried to do the flower skip and missed it. Shed, meanwhile, got it, but then got knocked in the wrong direction. Good awareness by Shed to save that.
Shed just missed the level up, though. I don't think he blew up any brambles there.
That's not good. That's not good. That's going to cost Shed some additional timeout, and I wonder if it's going to mess with his XP for the Slime Genocide. I don't think it will. It's just going to be an annoyance.
I don't think it'll mess with his XP at all because, as we saw last race, both runners leveled on the way out, so Shed will be very much used to that, to collecting the XP from those brambles.
That's right. I don't think that was the start that I think either runner wanted. No major mistakes or anything like that, but not the perfect mistake. Like even Ronnie there got his level up on the way down, but he did not get the perfect level up to take out all the brambles. Also took, I think, 2 points of damage on the way out. Yeah, Ronnie's... This is not good. Ronnie's down to 1 health. He's going to have to adopt some alternate strats getting through the slimes here. He can't do the boost unless he takes health.
Shed getting knocked down there as well, taking a little bit of extra damage. This is
my god.
This is a much sloppier early game than we saw last time. So I wonder if last race has sort of stuck with both of them and maybe gotten in their head a little bit.
It could be that. It could just be poor luck on both sides. It's interesting that we had a bit of spaghetti from both Ronnie and Shed. Ronnie had to be very careful. I mean, good job by Ronnie to adapt to his unfortunate situation and not die. Just had to take some extra time. Shed also dropped the safety save. He dropped that save last time as well. He's going to go grab the 15 XP as preparation. Died on the way down, though. What a value safety save.
Yeah, that is why you place that save. Or a save on the way to Blackroot in the split.
Imagine if Shed hadn't made that save. Ronnie does now have a lead, which would still be the case, but Shed would have been sent back, all the way to wall jump or something insane?
That would be over a minute almost. Yeah. At that point, you could almost say the race is decided.
That save had so much value that it probably prevented Shed from outright losing the race.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, very good job. Even if it's a save that he always makes, Shed was not supposed to be at that low of health. Whatever, that's in the past now. Both runners into BRB. Shed, again, just like last race, will be taking out a ton of these slimes and absorbing all their XP, hopefully not taking a nasty fall into the bath full of spikes. I think even Covert Muffin wouldn't want to jump in there.
No, there's not actually very many baths that we want to take in this run.
No, not many. The baths are too hot. You know, it's like they cranked up the hot tub temperature. It hurts you to touch the water.
So Shed, despite doing slime genocide, not electing to take the XP from that slime.
That's right. Ronnie looks like he got his cycles just fine, had an exit and reload to manipulate cycles. Shed is not doing the exit and reload due to him doing the genocide route. Still got the same cycle though, so Shed, that's 2 for 2 on what has been a very, very clean genocide routes, unless I missed something.
I mean, aside from that lower slime, but I assume that take that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even make an effort.
Yeah, Shed knows his XP. He knows how to do this route quite a bit better than me. That slime is pretty spooky too. That slime that Shed just killed has a nasty habit of knocking you off the platform. Shed doing lots of little wiggling with his mouse. Maybe that's just for funsies. Maybe he's not entirely pleased. Shed did catch a cycle in the next room though, so we had a closer race coming into the dash room last time. Ronnie does have a little bit more of a substantial lead at this point. It's still not enough to make any bigger predictions about the run as a whole, but it is nice for Ronnie to have that early lead.
Yeah, I think we're still like only about a platform cycle apart, which is 8 seconds or so, about the length of a skill tree animation.
It's kind of funny how so many things in this game happen to round out to about 8 seconds.
Yeah, it's nice. It means that we can just say that something's 8 seconds. Probably right.
Right. If you don't remember something, just say 8 seconds are great. Yeah, so again, just to reiterate, Ronnie is not going to do the cutscene stack, this sort of relatively newer strats you can do in this area that involves blind movement because it is silly and dumb, and he's not going to go for it.
If you miss the dash glide, you fall down into a pit of spikes and you get auto-saved, and you're really, really sad.
That's right. That's right. So again, we're going to be coming up to the Frankie Walk. Last time, Ronnie nailed this perfectly. Shed still got through his Death Gauntlet and all that good stuff, but he failed his Death Glide, something that Shed has been worried about. So we'll see if Shed can clean up that Death Glide this time around. I hope so.
Yeah, and then we'll be coming up on things like, you know, Grotto Cycle, Grotto Skip, the next sort of big potential time changers.
There's just a whole, like, connected series of events that describes this run. It's just one trick after another. Let's pay attention to the left, though. Ronnie, being slightly in the lead, is going to get to his door first. As always, he'll be killing this thing and absorbing its experience to level up and get through the 4 energy door using only 2 energy slots. There he goes. So Ronnie has to make it through without dying. If he does die, he gets sent all the way back to dash, opting not to dash away far away. Made it underneath that spooky Froggo, though, and got a nice Death Glide, no damage. Let's see if Shed can match.
Hopefully he can, because Shed again going for that same damage boost through that slime. That damage boost spooks me out.
Here we go. Yes!
Nice.
Well done by Shed. Not only looks pretty cool and feels pretty good, but it also saves time, which means it feels even better. Shed also got a optimal cycle a little bit earlier while he was walking the frog, which saves like 1 cycle. Ronnie, this time, fixed the mistake from the previous run, nailed his Grotto cycle. That's going to be 8 seconds that Shed does not want to lose.
Hopefully he's going to get it too, and he does, so yes. No time delta there.
Oh, that is just fantastic. That death by Ronnie was intentional for the ghost door. Shed also took some intentional damage because he will be taking his own intentional death shortly. Solid execution on both sides. Shed got a very fast ghost door, so Ronnie's going to be doing his blind movement. Last time he got super high up on the wall, as did Shed, although Shed also took damage last time.
Yeah, Shed hitting that spike ceiling on the way out last time. We'll see if he can avoid that this time. Hopefully he can, because if he does, he'll make it further.
Let's hope. So Ronnie is out. He's no longer blind, unlike the forest, so he can see what he's doing.
I'm still not sure why the forest is blind.
Me neither. It doesn't have eyes, so like how can the forest be real if our eyes aren't real?
I know, it's just interesting.
All right, these are the questions that keep me up at night. Ronnie got another first try Grotto skip. That's pretty much exactly the thing he did last time. Shed actually had problems with this trick. Remember, he got it 5th try. So this is something that Shed is going to want to be improving, and he does not get it first try. Super fast second try, though, so that's fine.
Yeah, no major time loss there. Completely. Much cleaner than the last race.
I also just love these. I love these ninja jumps. I mean, we saw them last run as well, but it's something that not a lot of runners go for, and it's really cool to see them done well. I mean, you want to see some cool ninja jumps, go watch the task, but like, it's still fantastic to see.
That's the task. Like,
yeah,
of course the task is going to do it perfectly.
It's literally cheating, you know?
No, the task can't literally cheat. It doesn't have the mouse.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. That's a good point. That's very insightful commentary from Rory. Anyway, so we are again climbing up to the first dungeon of the game, the Ginso or the Jinso tree, pronounced the same way as GIF or GIF. Chat, you can feel free to have an argument about that if you want to.
So these are the important things in Ori.
Well, I mean, this is another section, like, we joke because we're dirty memesters, but like in the early game, there's not a lot to talk about, like from the beginning up to sign, right? I would argue that in this section too, there's often not a lot to talk about either, assuming that we don't see movement mistakes. We do see Ronnie skipping the cell again, and Shed will be getting it, but like, if there aren't mistakes, there's not a lot that's unique to commentate in this section of the run. It's just plain raw movement.
And it's all these like little tiny precise jumps and double jumps, and like it's very possible to lose several seconds just for seemingly no reason, but it's so hard for us to recognize that as viewers.
That's right. That's right. It's interesting, Ronnie got through his slime, but it was in an interesting position. I'm not sure if that's because Ronnie was really fast or whether he was slow. But like, pay attention to Shed. The slime's going to be up on the wall. He'll be doing a wall run to damage boost through it. Not very important, so let's just move on. Ronnie will be getting through his first 2 rooms of the Ginso tree, testing his wall jumping and double jumping and other such skills. Ronnie didn't have any issues with it last time. Actually went so fast that he got like an early cycle. Also drops the safety save, which I think is a smart decision in the second room.
Of course, another completely free safety save.
Completely free, and yet most people don't take it. Myself included.
I've been seeing a lot more people take it in the tournament races, I think.
It's probably just a force of habit.
Yeah, the reason that I like it so much is because if you make a mistake in the second room and you die and you don't have that save, then the camera gets glitched out in the first room.
That's right. Also interesting little variance here. Shed is going bottom roots. That damage was intentional to sort of knock himself back down, and because he can afford the extra damage anyway, did stop to pick up a little bit of health there. So Ronnie is sitting here waiting for the flower to shoot some shots to get through the puzzle room. Shed is now in the same puzzle room, so we have a little bit of a sort of a high five scenario. Last time, Ronnie also had a lot of issues with this mini-boss, due partially to not paying attention closely enough to his health, and due partially to bad RNG. Hopefully it'll go more cleanly this time.
I don't think he's taken any unintentional hits that I've noticed.
I haven't noticed any either.
He got the bottom right spawn this time. Okay, he checks his health right there. He learned his lesson from the last race.
Yep. So solid 5 cycle from Ronnie. No real mistakes. Shed is doing well. I think he might have had an off spawn. So I haven't been counting cycles because counting is hard. Yeah, that was the 6th cycle for Shed. So not too big a deal, but it'll be a little bit of additional time loss. So Ronnie's health on the left is just fine. Damaged intentionally on the spikes. Set up a ghost door. And didn't get his hyperspeed, but that is just fine. Shed will be entering the same room shortly. So a little bit more of a discrepancy than we had last race.
Yep, and sort of as we would have expected, Ronnie a little bit in the lead. I think I want to say that Shed had the lead here by a handful of seconds last time.
Well, it's interesting, you know, thinking back on Ronnie's last run, like, it almost feels like it was sloppy, and it really wasn't. The vast majority of the run was just perfect. It's just that there were enough mistakes for Shed to capitalize on it because Shed didn't make those mistakes. Ronnie has basically cleaned up his act this time and has cut out most of the mistakes. Did have issues right there, though. He's going to have to double bash to not die. Did still get the save up on the second platform. But that's going to be a few seconds.
So Shed, I believe, will be going for the same thing. Just to set up this key dupe save. Shed gets it first try. Saves a little bit of time.
That's right. Meanwhile, Ronnie did get a nice clean. I keep using the word clean. Clean felt not even commentating. Missed the keystone for a second for Shed, but Ronnie got his key dupe. Shed also got his, which is a relief. The positioning there can be pretty precise. While we have a second, I'll also point out the Snoopy on the stats side of this little presentation we have going today told us that last time we only had about a 5-second delta at Bash, now it's 19. So
and 19 in the other direction.
That's right. That's
so,
right.
Definitely, definitely. I'd say Ronnie just cleaned up some of the mistakes from the early game last race.
Well, we were hoping for a race 3, and right now it's looking like we might get one. There's a lot of race to go, though, yeah. So maybe, even though I just predicted, I'm gonna not predict anymore until I'm absolutely certain.
Yeah, no. Predictions are bad.
Predictions are bad because we curse people when we predict.
Right. We don't want to predict until we already know what's correct or not.
That's right. That's right. Why gamble when you can just know the facts instead? So yeah. So Ronnie is at Swamp Entry. There's 1 frog hit, 2 frog hit, double bashing the thing around. We will be seeing the exact same double bash strats that we saw last time. Looks like he did not quite bait the shot perfectly. This might have been what happened last time as well. But Ronnie got it as a very quick backup the second time. He's through the platform where Shed is just starting his attempt. We still don't have much of a difference. Shed just barely caught that frog before it landed in the poison water. If Shed can get a slightly cleaner trick here, there it goes. Shed is going to gain just like a small amount of time, maybe 2 or so seconds there.
Yeah, Ronnie's going to take that same left side of that platform.
I'll also point out that Shed missed his ability cell coming in, but that doesn't matter at all. Since we exit back out through the same route, Shed can just get it then.
It's just a choice of when you take the pickup animation, and I actually like the choice from Shed to decide to go for it on the way out, because his double bash didn't carry him through it, so he would have had to not take the second double bash up to the top of the area. He would have had to get the pickup animation and then wall climb.
That's right. So Ronnie just dropped a safety save since he can afford the energy on the way out. Shed, meanwhile, has made it to the stomp. He's going to exit out as well. So Ronnie is going to have to use Ringo the Frog, we call him that because he makes an enormous racket banging on his drum set there. Nice double bashes. Got to the ability, so Ronnie's also going to have to get his curl cutscene skip nice and cleanly, or else it could be another opportunity for Shed to hopefully gain back the lead. Shed also dropped a safety save quite a bit closer to Ringo.
So 15-second delta at Stomp. So slightly less than a Kuro cutscene length, but Ronnie, of course, nails that skip as we would expect from the top runner in the world, and
that's right. Shed also nailed it. Him also being a top runner. Pretty much, I mean, just assume. We were talking about this in advance, Rory. Every single runner who is remaining in the tournament is top 10 seeds from our original seeding. Bunkley was seed 17, but he's since been eliminated. So everyone left is top 10 seed.
Yeah, so we're approaching the point in the tournament where we're just seeing ridiculous levels of gameplay that we're seeing on both sides instead of just maybe one side.
Interesting, by the way, that Shed over on the right is opening up his save anywhere early. Maybe this is something he always goes for and I'm just unaware. Or maybe just a way to save a hair of energy or something. Shed knows what he's doing. Nothing to worry about, folks.
Yeah, I mean, he's 9th in the world for a reason.
He is indeed. But Ronnie is just not slowing down, is not only out of Charge Flame and past the Spirit Tree cutscene, something he had some issues with last run, but is over to the left side of the map, which is generally this area we refer to as a valley entrance, onward, going to the left. Shed also nailed his cutscene skip through the Spirit Tree, which uses a dash glide that's more precise than it looks. But yeah, both runners still just playing quite well. Ronnie's just, gaining little bits of time here and there.
Then we're gonna have to see how this. I don't expect any problems on Fast Stompless, but Sorrow is where I'm looking to see potential mistakes and potential time differences.
That's right. Well, speaking of tiny mistakes, Shed tried to go for some frog strats, did not quite get it. On the flip side of the screen, Ronnie grabbed his spider shot, shot it at a rather precise angle using a visual cue with his cursor. He's going to dash out of the way in order to despawn something in the way, grab the cell, teleport it into the cutscene. Perfect, fast stompless with a first try. Shed is going to hope to match that if he wants to keep pace. I would not expect Shed to have any issues with this. Just like last time, though, didn't like his first shot, so he's going to take another one.
Yeah, it almost looked like he couldn't get his mouse in position in time.
Yeah. You can't hold the bashes infinitely. You can only hold them for however long you can hold them. That was close.
I think he got that cell.
No, he got it. He got it. It's fine, but that was It was spooktastic is what it was. But yeah, Ronnie's picked up Feather, went down to the bottom, Rocket jumped up to the top. Both of these guys absolutely nailed. We're probably going to use that term a lot, nailed, so pull out your raised Bs. Nailed his Sorrow Bash last time, pulling out some nice double bashes. Ronnie positioning his bird very nicely, charge dash bash, and he is through. I would expect to see exactly the same from Shed. I don't expect him to have any problems with what is probably the hardest trick in the run.
And now just keep your eyes on this left-sided screen for Crazy Juggle.
Ronnie got this very nicely last time. You have to be careful. It isn't just about charge dashing and stomping. You have to make sure that your charge dash doesn't auto-target the wrong thing and kill you or burn energy or something.
And oh, Bash Bug!
He saved it!
The frog has enough health!
Unbelievable.
What an incredible save.
Dude, Roy, that has to be a first to save a Crazy Juggle like that.
I have not seen a save on Crazy Juggle in that way ever.
That was so perfect that the frog was able to drop and take additional hits because Ronnie moved it up so quickly.
Yeah.
That is worth a highlight, I tell you what. So yeah, we have a bit of a discrepancy. Same thing we saw last time. Shed, when he got up kind of near where that Crazy Juggle ended, Shed went off to the left to the charge jump tree, whereas Ronnie went up top. Ronnie's going to go back down and go left. Ronnie also had a handful of deaths last time coming through this section because all these spikes are insta-kill.
This time looks much, much cleaner on the way to this charge jump tree. So Ronnie definitely has a pretty sizable lead here.
He definitely does. Last time when we got to this point, we were sort of unclear on who was going to be in the lead exiting Sorrow. This time it's definitely going to be Ronnie. Ronnie just has to exit back out through this corridor of insta-kill spikes. Might have burn and energy there. Probably not that big a deal. We'll see.
Well, he just got like 2 magneting to him, so I don't think he really cares.
Thank you, energy drops. Yeah, so Ronnie's going to be exiting out first. Shed just unfortunately has to just wait for the cutscene to play. There's only so fast that you can force yourself to skip the cutscene, and then Shed will be following in Ronnie's footsteps. But right now, Ronnie is in the lead. We're all the way through Sorrow, an area that we mentioned might be easy to make mistakes in, and we get to see the magic of Misty Woods for a second time today.
And Ronnie, of course, dropping that safety save at the start of Misty, so he knows he's in the lead, and he just wants to ensure that it stays that way.
That's right. Shed opted for just a tiny bit of safety using the feather to avoid the little elbow spikes at the bottom. You don't have to feather, but only a madman would dare attempt such a feat. Yeah, so Ronnie's, look at this blazing speed. The camera can barely keep up. That's not true, but let's just go with it.
Yeah, there are definitely times when the camera can't keep up, but this is not one of them. Usually that's because we do something to mess up the game somehow.
I just don't know what to say again. I'm seeing pretty much perfect execution on either side.
Agreed, and Shed gonna go for a little skip there. But
that is something I haven't seen in quite some time. How much time does that save?
I'm not sure.
Oh God! That's okay. That's okay. It's not great, and that might have just mitigated whatever time loss Shed gained. But Shed didn't die. It's sort of similar to the earlier value save way back before Blackroot Burrows. That safety save wasn't technically a safety save; it was required for the trick. But you know, let's just move on. Ronnie on the left is still in the lead. Past Climb is heading through the second half of Misty Woods. He's not slowing down whatsoever, giving Shed really any room to gain back.
Ronnie took a hit on the spikes there, so even with a safety save, he'll be at the point where any hit will kill him. So this rocket jump is super spooky when you only have 3 HP.
I do like the decision by Ronnie to safety save, though. It's not strictly required. Oh boy, this is interesting. Can double bash up top, but
fortunately there's a very conveniently placed energy crystal here, and we only need 1 energy to kill this boss anyways.
That's right. Because afterwards we get to level up, and we have all our health and energy, and everything is right in the world.
We can continue to go fast.
Shed tried to make a safety save, it didn't land, though.
Hopefully we won't see any sort of mistakes from him here. Nice rocket jump. Nice charge dashes to the slime, and he has more than enough energy to keep going.
That rocket jump is harder than it looks too, especially to avoid damage. So Shed didn't get a perfect mini-boss kill. It was still not probably as fast as he wanted. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure what happened there. Shed could have stopped and killed the mini-boss, and he stood still. That almost seems like some kind of weird... I don't know. That death is catastrophic. That's about the worst possible death in Misty Woods.
I think that's the race, honestly.
I think you're right. That's the race. This is going to be insurmountable. At this point, that death is so costly that Ronnie could get to the final escape, probably fail it once, maybe twice, and still come back. Shed also just took damage, so he's going to be down to only 1 health. Zooming through these spikes, I would not expect to see another safety save. That is just so tragic in its own rights, but also because Shed tried to make a safety save, and he just did not quite land on the ground, and decided rather than going back up, he's just going to continue. That's a death that I'm sure Shed will not be happy with. Thankfully, even if that does cost him the race, he won't be out yet because he took the first victory, but that's not going to feel good.
Yeah, he needs to just shake that off right now. This race is pretty much lost, and he needs to just be making sure that doesn't get to him for Game 3.
Well, let's check in with Ronnie, who, while we were talking, made it all the way through Lost Grove, passed all his lasers, skipped his cutscenes, got his 11th and final skill of the game, Light Grenade, which unlocks the ability to do grenade jumps, although I would expect him to probably not use them until the very end, pulling off some nice double rocket jumps to exit that area very cleanly. Now has to avoid the boulder. We are up. There's Hell Cell number 5. I would expect Ronnie to probably not take 6, although he might, given that he has the time, but he probably won't.
I don't think he will. He knows how to do the 5 health swim, and he has more than enough time to mess it up if anything goes at all wrong. So I don't think there's going to be any issue.
I don't think so either. We also have sort of a situation here where Ronnie could decide to skip the final grenade jump if he wanted a quote-unquote guaranteed victory, assuming he can get there cleanly. I don't expect we'll see him skip it because Ronnie's going to be so consistent at the trick anyway, and Ronnie might want to kind of, you know, his personal pride is at stake a little bit, right? He probably wants to say, I can just get a really, really good time.
Yeah, he needs to, he probably wants to just show, yeah, this is the time that I'm going to put up, and you need to be able to compete with this going into Game 3.
Well, Ronnie's into Mount Horu. He got a first try grenade. I can't speak, dude. First try door warp last time. We'll see if he can match that again. Meanwhile, Shed has made it all the way to Light Grenade. Ronnie is through with another first try door warp. That's going to increase his previous average of 85.7% on the trick, upping his averages. No big deal in a pressure-filled situation like this. Ronnie's just one final escape away from victory in race number 2.
Yep, and at this point, it is definitely Ronnie's race to lose.
We do have a reverse situation. Last time Ronnie was the one with some rough deaths that gave Shed by no means a free victory, but you know, sort of clear skies to take it all the way to the end. This time Ronnie's in that situation. Ronnie, I'm sure, probably checked the restream while this escape was starting. If he's gonna take it, for Ronnie, this is probably taking it easy, believe it or not.
Yeah, just letting himself get caught on that wall, charging that charge flame there, just making sure everything's going fine.
That's right. Ronnie also made it through the hot tub water. It's way too hot for Ori. Gonna go up on the wall, climbing in a particular spot. He's gonna aim and release. He's out with no soft block. Ronnie will be taking race number 2.
Right, and Shed not even that far behind, despite that really, really terrible death in Misty. Already at the Horu door, about to hit his door warp, and then just one final escape away from going to Game 3.
The reality of the situation is that Shed was pretty likely to lose even without that death, because Ronnie was ahead, and as we saw, Ronnie did not slow down. He got first try everything. And speaking of first try, Shed just got it as well, but it's still just catastrophic.
Yeah, so Ronnie gonna come in with a very low 29. This is considerably ahead of Shed's PB.
Shed's PB, to reiterate, is a 29.53, so that time is, what is that, 6 seconds and then 30 more, 36 seconds ahead of Shed's personal best. Yeah. What a statement by Ronnie, coming back from the loss to put up a time 36 seconds faster than the best time your opponent has ever achieved.
Yeah, that definitely says something, and it's sending a message to Shed, I think, just saying you need to be here.
Shed unfortunately did die in the final escape. It's not going to affect the outcome, and Shed knows it. Shed even typed a GG in the SRL chat, which is really wonderful sportsmanship, I think. but has to avoid damage. Did avoid damage that time. Remember that you're not allowed to take any damage because it will leave you with not enough health to survive the poison swim. So here Shed goes stomping into the water. He has to use these 2 fish to bash to get enough distance. He is out of the water. Just has to do his final grenade jump.
Hopefully we'll see him nail this first try. Just increase that success chance. Same grenade jump success chance that Ronnie had on Door Warp.
Interesting how numbers can do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, GG to both runners. We will be getting the game 3 that we hoped for. Shed is going to have to shake off that rough death, just like Ronnie had to shake off his deaths in race number 1. I don't know how to make any predictions about the last one. It's probably going to be close again.
Yeah, all I can say is that I hope that race 3 delivers the way that these first 2 have.
I expect that we're going to be taking another break for just a few minutes to let Ronnie and Shed sort of catch their breath. I have to say, for Shed, like, that death, I mean, it sucks for your total time, of course, but I wonder if that could even help his mentality. It's like, oh crap, well, now it's completely over. You know, he was probably nervous for a while, but after that death, he knew it was over. So in a way, he can almost take the rest of the race a little bit more easy.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that'll sort of give him a chance to sort of have calmed down before this third race.
Well, in race number 2, to put some concrete numbers to everything, even though they're visible on screen, Ronnie had a 29:17, as we said, 36 seconds better than Shed's PB of 29:53. Shed over there got a 31:02, due primarily... It's not like that's a bad time, by the way. That's a ridiculously good time. It's just, in this context, it's a slow time, primarily due to the death in Misty Woods. But with that, we are going to take a break, I think, for another few minutes, as I said. And then we will be back. So don't go anywhere, because we have the conclusion to this epic trilogy coming up shortly.
What a beautiful charge! Oh, this is fine. Oh my god, this is what a save! Okay.
It's time. Those other two races, those were just child's play. It was basically warm-ups. It's like a casual playthrough. This is the real race right here. Match 3 of the quarterfinals round of 8 match between... I'm being way too intense about this. What's up, guys? You just all watched 2 races. We have the third one coming up.
I don't know. I think this one deserves a little bit of hype after what we just saw.
I think it does. I'll pretend like I'm commentating like a Batman trailer or something. It'll be like, in a world, and like that'll be like the whole thing. In a world where we have a 1v1 tie between Shed and UncleRonny, who will come out the victor? Only time will tell.
In fact, that is exactly what we'll tell.
Actually, yeah.
Time and some equality comparisons.
But yeah, just to reiterate, especially for anyone who might be joining us here for this race and not some of the others, this is a quarterfinals match between UncleRonny and Shed. It's a best of 3, and currently we have a 1-1 tie between them. Shed won the first race, and Ronnie won the second race. So whoever wins this will come out the overall victor. And the winner of this race is going to go on to face the victor of Elogimini and Sigma. We don't know, obviously, who won that match because it's not going to be played until Sunday. But whoever wins is not going to have an easy road ahead of them either. With our nice transition, we'll be getting kicked off shortly.
So, I think that we can expect to see very similar things for about the first half of the run, honestly.
I would expect the same. I mean, it's interesting. Like, Rory, we talked last race about if you are Ronnie or Shed, if you're one of these runners, do you change anything going into this race? And I guess I'll just pose that question to you again.
I think at this point, you just go all out.
I guess you'd have to.
Especially if you're Shed.
Yeah, I mean, we did talk early on that Shed was treating these runs like PB attempts because Shed felt that he might have to PB in order to win twice. As it turns out, Shed didn't have to PB to win the first one, but then Ronnie turned around and pulled out a time that was 36 seconds faster than Shed's PB. So if Ronnie does that again, then Shed would have to really PB in order to win. The better scenario for Shed is to hope for some slop on Ronnie's side.
Yes, but Shed did say in the SRL chat that when he looked at his splits for the last race, he was behind super early and then decently ahead of PB at like Glide, I think.
Yeah.
And then went on to play it as free, sort of.
PBs are always free, and every time you don't get a PB, it's just due to something outside your control. It can't possibly be, personal mistakes. The PB will, well, whatever. Meme is about speedrunning aside. We've picked up Sign. As always, we'll be going through these fights. No mistakes on either side. We're seeing those really quick task shots. This time, Shed actually pulled out just a hair ahead and got the dark purple color.
Oh no. So we can't actually see Ori on Shed's screen. We can only see the little particle trail. And every now and then we'll see some red flashes when he damage boosts.
It's kind of nice that, like, I always thought it would be interesting to play with an invisible mod, like where you couldn't see Ori at all, and I guess this is about as close as we're going to get for the time being.
I'm pretty sure that existed in Chaos or Endo, and it was awful.
Of course it did. Look at that, though. I mean, Shed had the lead coming out of the Frankie fight, and just like that, Ronnie's just a hair ahead. That might have been because of a pickup. Full disclosure, I think I was glancing at Ronnie's side when we got to the flower pad, but still not much to speak of. Ronnie in both races so far has gotten a 2 health ghost door rather than a 1 health ghost door.
We'll see. One.
Yeah.
Got a health drop.
That's just unlucky, but look at that. We're tied. We had deaths and respawns at virtually exactly the same time. That is just hilarious.
Are we tied? I can't tell because Shed's invisible.
Well, wherever Shed may or may not be in the world of Nibel, we assume that he's tied. Let's just go with that. Where did Ori go? Who's going to save the forest now?
Sign.
Sure, Sign just sitting on a log. What can Sign do? Like, apparently Sign can float around, but like only when we go pick up Sign. Freaking lazy. Anyway. Yeah, so we're still virtually tied. This is probably the closest we've been at this exact moment. I mean, we're talking seconds here and there, but look at that. Like, Ronnie had the energy pickup, so we're almost exactly tied. Both runners not doing the damage boost through the brambles. Looks like Shed will not level up since he can dodge the flower. He would have leveled up if he grabbed the experience, but he didn't.
But Ronnie did miss that flower dodge. Unfortunately, did not take enough damage to cause a death.
Look at this sync. Unbelievable.
This is like almost going to be frame for frame a wall jump.
Oh, Ronnie had like 2 frames in the lead. It's over. No way for Shed to catch up.
Nope, not after something like that.
Saved, what is that, like 30 almost seconds over the course of his last run. Can't save 2 frames. Boy, I'll say this. I don't envy... let's see, who's on the right? Shed's on the right. So our 2 stats guys right now are Griffs and Snoopy. Whichever one of you guys is handling lead changes, I don't envy you right now. I'm trying to pay attention like frame by frame, like who's in the lead on a jump by jump basis.
Yeah, and it is. We promise it's tied, even though we can't see Shed.
Yes, and thank you to Smashy for informing us of something. It's tied is what we now know. Very insightful restreaming by Smashy.
So, shout outs to Terra for that one.
That's right. We make fun of Terra, but Terra does have a cool accent, even though he would have lost to me in brackets if we faced each other.
Well, you make fun of Terra.
Yeah. I have no follow up to that. Let's get back to the race. We're coming up to BRB. Not too much to say. Again, Shed popped out of his way to grab the 15 experience orb, which is going to temporarily cost Shed like a second or 2, but Shed will gain it back, assuming that his genocide goes well. And Shed has pretty much done his genocide without any major problems in the previous 2 runs, so I'd expect him to probably be able to do it again.
Yep, and did take a little bit of damage on the way into Blackroot, but I don't think that's going to be a problem really at all, because he's going to level up right here.
I just love that the genocide route exists, by the way. I mean, Blackroot Burrows has been in this run for a long time, and for a long time we said, Blackroot Burrows, that's just, we know how to do it. You just do Blackroot Burrows, and that's the way that it's done. And then someone's like, maybe it was Sigma's like, what if we made it worse instead? And thus Slime Genocide was born.
Yeah, what if we did this thing that is just much more awful to do, and maybe it's faster?
Well, see, look at that, by the way. Oh, Shed got a really slow orb drop. I'm not sure why that was, but Ronnie had like a few seconds lead coming into BRB, but because of the difference in their route, Shed is now pretty much exactly tied. I would expect to see the laser cycles be almost identical. Shed is going to just pause for that one, as is Ronnie. Ronnie will be doing his exit and reload. Shed does not have to. So Shed is now just a tiny bit in the lead over Ronnie.
Yep, and this is just, sort of flashbacks to race 1.
That's exactly what it is. As always, we're going to see Shed and Ronnie momentarily pause intentionally at the edge of this platform to manipulate cycles, not in this room, but in the next room. Over the course of this tournament, we started, actually commentating the tricks less and less as people learn more and more. Also, I'll quickly point out, I'm going to interrupt myself. Ronnie had to avoid killing that slime, presumably for experience reasons. So good job by Ronnie to avoid the shots. That's harder than it looks because these slimes are snipers.
Yep, but fortunately, the worst sniper slime is the one at the bottom by the little fireball shooter and the pillars, and that one dies to a level up.
Well, this is cool. This is cool. Just like every other race, we are very, very close coming into Dash, but we've had sort of different varieties of close over the course of these, 2 races, and now this one that we have currently. Shed is now just slightly in the lead, but I haven't... Like, what execution mistakes have we seen so far, Rory, that you can think of?
We've seen Ronnie messed up the flower skip, and the different route.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's it.
Which kind of makes sense that we're coming in so tight. We're going to get simultaneous tree animations. Shed looks like he has maybe a 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 second lead. For all intents and purposes, you consider it to be completely tied at this point.
Shed gonna just grab a little bit more experience from these slimes, so Ronnie might pull back even here. And I didn't see their XP counts this time. I made a point to look for that the last time.
I didn't either, but I'm just gonna assume that it's fine, even though I don't know. I'm gonna have faith in the powers of UncleRonny and Shed, and just hope for the best. For a moment, I thought that Shed's frog didn't jump, but it did. So yeah, Ronnie just has a tiny bit of a lead on the left side into this Frankie walk, but as we said, it's effectively unchanged from the dash tree. It's basically tied.
Yep, and based on the fact that Ronnie had to skip a slime, I'd say that his experience is probably a little bit better.
Probably true. We'll also see if we can get the optimal strats. Ronnie, there it comes up. And Shed, I think, maybe did get the slightly faster cycle. Regardless, they're both through the door. We're going to probably see exactly the same strats as before. Shed went for the longer dash glide, followed by damage boost. Here we go. They're both on there. Ronnie, 3 for 3. Perfect death glides. Shed got his second one as well. To reiterate over and over again, which is apparently the theme of the night, Shed told us in advance that he was worried about death glide. So I think he'll be very proud to nail it like that.
Right. Grotto cycles.
Grotto cycles.
Get it.
Oh god.
Or that they both missed it. Okay, they both missed it.
Dude, it's fascinating.
No lead changes.
I'm not like a superstitious person, but I swear there's some cosmic force that just makes it so that in every time we have a close race like this, both players tend to miss things. Like in the first race, they both missed Grotto Cycle. The second race, they both got it. Third race, they both missed it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's sort of like Commentator's Curse. It's definitely a very real thing.
Well, but we curse both of them equally, so it's fine. Sort of.
Fine. It's fine, TM.
Yes, it's fine, TM. Look at this sync again. We had like dash on the wall jump tree. We had almost, I can't speak. We had sync on almost every single tree so far. Who is going to get the better blind movement?
I think Ronnie will. He's been getting it better a little, just slightly.
Yeah. Many runners in that blind movement will decide to intentionally stay on the right wall a little bit rather than jumping off to the left, even if you have the time, because it's just so tricky. But yeah, with that, your prediction came true. Ronnie gained like an extra second or so. Coming up to the grotto skip, Ronnie got this first try in both of the previous runs, and Shed got a 5th try and then a 2nd try. This time, Ronnie had the issues, fell all the way down. That's going to give Shed one of the more substantial deltas that we've seen in the race so far, and it's still not even very much.
Yeah, but this one could potentially last a little bit longer because there's not any sort of actually. There is about to be a route difference coming up later in this split where Ronnie will skip an ability cell that Shed will get.
That's right. We're going to see several exits and reloads in this section, as always, just to skip a handful of cutscenes. We'll also see Shed and Ronnie try to jump in the correct way in order to jump over an invisible slow zone. That's why you can sort of dash off to the right and you see Gumo disappear. He's supposed to be off screen when that happens, but he's not. We get to see all kinds of funny artifacts of the fact that we do these sequence breaks in the speedrun. It's kind of funny.
Yep. So coming up in just a minute here, they're going to just grab this teleporter, and then we're going to see Shed detour for an ability cell, and I believe that Ronnie will take the lead again off of that.
He probably will. If not, it's going to be pretty close. As always, Ronnie skipping that ability cell is due to the fact that he'll be doing the crazy juggle. Ronnie did his crazy juggle very well the first race. The second race, he somehow saved it in what has to be one of the most valuable saves I've seen in the tournament so far. Yep, just like you said there, Ronnie took the lead. But Ronnie's going to have a difficult trick ahead of him. And if he messes it up, that'll be to Shed's pretty substantial benefit later on. But that's not until like 2/3 of the way through the race.
Yep, and the time save that he gets from that trick is basically the time save from not having to grab this ability cell here.
That is right. Both runners made a pit stop to the teleporter, which we'll be coming back to later. Ronnie also got the Swamp God cycle. It's something we don't really talk about very often. It's just some particularly nice cycles you can get if you are fast enough. So yeah, Ronnie got to the Ginso tree first. We've had little minor lead changes here and there, but going into Ginso, we have, I didn't count it, maybe someone in the truck did, that's can't be more than about 4 or 5 seconds.
No, it's very, very slight right now, and there are plenty of places for that time to just sort of be eaten away on either side.
I mean, just look at this movement. The deltas that we're seeing are down to just seconds here and there. The biggest mistake by either runner so far has been Ronnie dropping down on Grotto Skip like once, and I guess they missed Grotto God cycle, but they both missed it, so it's fine. Both runners also took some damage coming through there. I think Shed's was intentional. I don't think Ronnie's was. It was not.
That's a pretty huge death, but that is why you make that safety save in the second room.
That's right. if Ronnie hadn't made that safety save, not only would he be back to the entrance, but as you mentioned last race, Roy, the camera would be messed up, which would lose Ronnie some additional time. So well done making the safety save. Not something that Ronnie's going to be happy about, but there is a lot of run remaining. And as we've seen, Ronnie's execution so far is somehow just a little better than Shed, even though Shed is also just insanely skilled at the video game.
But when you're up against the world record holder, sometimes insanely skilled is just not enough.
That's right. Well, speaking of skill, Shed is into the mini boss, getting some very nice cycles on this thing. It's spawning quickly, and Shed is getting a lot of shots. That was a 5 cycle. So well done by Shed. Ronnie, I would expect to probably also get a 5 cycle. There is some RNG in this fight, but it's manageable if you do everything right. And of course, they both know how to.
And he's only 1 mini boss room behind, despite that death.
That's right. That's right. Part of that is due to the fact that Ronnie was a little bit in the lead when he took the death. But yeah, Shed is really just, there's almost not much to say. Shed is playing very well. He's going to take an intentional death for his Ghost Door, making it off to the right. Also, as expected, Ronnie got a 5 cycle on the mini boss. So Ronnie will be getting to Bash shortly as well, assuming he doesn't have any issues with his Ghost Door in this room.
And we'll see what the delta is when we get here, but this is going to be back in favor of Shed, just like the first race.
It absolutely is. Shed took a bit of damage. That should be fine, but it's something that Shed has to adapt to. There is some intentional damage that runners can take in a handful of different spots in this section due to the intentional death to set up the key duplication glitch. But Shed is going to have to play a little bit differently. His approach will probably be a double bash without damage. Yep, and there's the save. Ordinarily, runners will do that double bash and intentionally damage themselves on the left spikes. Pay attention to Ronnie on the left. He'll be doing that in just a moment, where Shed is about to do his key dupe.
So being informed that we had a 23-second delta after Bash, which I believe is the biggest that we've seen at Bash in this set.
I think it is too. I mean, look at this. Shed is like an entire key dupe cycle ahead now. Also got the... God, that is so scary what Shed just did on the right side. So Shed is through the door. Ronnie is just 3 for 3. Again, not unexpected. Someone of his caliber, but just 3 for 3 on that key dupe trick. Shed is through what is generously called a mini boss. Really, it's just an annoying obstacle in our way that happens to drop 30 experience.
Yeah, that is... I mean, it's more annoying than some of the other things that we call.
These are quite some races, right, Rory?
Yeah, this is about now like a door animation and a teleporter apart.
And this isn't even the finals. This is like only our second quarterfinals match. We have probably, as we sort of said earlier, I would expect pretty much every single race from now on to have the potential to be this close.
Yeah, I think it is entirely possible that we could see Game 3 on both of the other quarterfinal matches, and also in the semifinals, and potentially see going to the last game of the finals as well.
Well, let's pay attention over to the right side. Shed got through his movement. Maybe didn't get as much distance on that frog as he wanted, but it's fine through the power of double bash. Nice job avoiding damage, too. I think he would have been fine even if he took it. So Shed, I think he's gotten his swamp entries pretty much perfectly, and this one is no exception. Shed is through with a nice, clean first try, and Ronnie on the left is going to be doing his right now also.
This is an interesting double bash strat here from Ronnie. That is not what we saw him do in the last 2 races, so I wonder what sort of caused that to change.
That might have also been a hair slower, right? Like, double bashes feel swaggy, but time pauses when you bash, and it actually does take a second. Did Shed just fall?
I think he fell, and then it looked like he couldn't get out of the...
Yeah, I think you might be right. So Shed is still in the lead and everything, but that's going to cost Shed just a small amount of time. So Shed will be coming up to stomp here. I'm going to guess that Shed's tree animation is going to be finishing right around the time that Ronnie gets there. It's going to be pretty close to that. So it looks like we're going to have, I don't know, maybe a 10-ish second delta.
Yeah, it's very small. Like, that little bit of these little mistakes from both sides are mistakes that neither can really afford, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So Shed has the lead. He is watching the restream, so he knows that he's in the lead, which has to be giving Shed a little bit of confidence, especially because he was behind at this point in the previous race. So Shed, there's the same safety save. He's going to be using the same frog to get up to the ability cell. We haven't seen any issues with the frog today. For Shed, that's going to be no different, pulling out some nice feather cancels on his stomps. There's all these little micro strats you can do if you know what to look for. Pretty cool. Ronnie also got his just fine.
Right, so Kuro cutscene. Nice.
What cutscene? There's no cutscene there. Just kidding, there is a cutscene. Okay, but they both skipped it though. So there we go. Shed is not slowing down. He's going to be heading towards energy cell number 5. This is the last energy cell that we get in the entire run, although we will be getting more health before the end. Nice damage boost through. I'm always impressed when players can do that because it's a pretty tight timing window, to be honest. But there Ronnie is through, just narrowly threading the gap there to get that shot through and avoid instant kill on the spikes at the bottom. Shed is opening up his long save anywhere just as before. This is really cool. I have to say, so far, this series of races has been everything I hoped it would be, and we still have like half of a race left.
Yeah, and as long as it stays, if it stays this close through late game, that'll be really, really incredible to see once we get there.
That's right. We have double save anywheres open for the exact same purpose, which is to skip the Spirit Tree cutscene. Shed is through. Again, that dash glide is more precise than it looks. It's actually something we saw Ronnie have issues with. It looks like Ronnie maybe had some issues getting out of there for just a moment as well. But with that, Ronnie also got his dash glide, double Spirit Tree cutscene, oh my, and we're heading over to the left side of the map as before.
Right, so next big obstacle is Fast Stompless, but again, I don't expect any trouble with that from either of them. I think Sorrow and Misty is going to be what decides it.
I'm very happy that both Shed and Ronnie are so consistent at Fast Stompless because it's a trick on Terrible Ass. So I get stressed watching it, and it's just a joy, to be quite honest, to see them nail it so consistently. Shed did take some damage, by the way. It shouldn't be a problem because he'll be getting a full refill when he picks up Feather, but he does have to be a little bit careful here since he hasn't made a safety save in quite some time. So Shed will be taking Fast Stompless first.
And actually, they don't get a refill of Feather. It is the only skill that doesn't provide a health and energy refill.
You are totally right. Anyway, Shed has a shot off, heading up to the ability cell. Hopefully no sad Celis today. Nope, continues the 100% streak.
Ronnie's shot looks good as well. He's gonna race down and grab the same ability cell, and we may be in the same cut at the same time after this.
That's always so scary. There's usually a timing, right, where you grab the ability cell and then you see the cutscene trigger. But if you're particularly fast, like Ronnie is, for just a split second, it looks like you missed it. So Ronnie just keeping us on our toes as if there wasn't enough anticipation already. But with that, Shed has picked up Feather, dropped a save in order to open up his ability menu and unlock Charge Dash, which immediately unlocks rocket jumping. Shed has gotten double first try Sorrow Bashes, I think as has Ronnie, I'm sure. So I would expect to see that trend continue right now.
And just brings this bird into the corner, and a nice Charge Dash, and he's going to grab this ability cell, and then hopefully we'll see no frog troubles from either side.
I certainly hope not, but this could be an opportunity for Ronnie to catch up because remember that Crazy Juggle exists. So Shed did the normal strats. He's going to not make a safety save, go through the Dorito dungeon, another area where he said that he was a little bit worried about because if he touches any of these, he's instantaneously dead. But he is through, dropping the safety save, opening up save anywhere, taking a death where Ronnie on the left is going to be doing Crazy Juggle.
Alright, these two-frame sequences.
That's far to the left. Oh my god.
Really, really left. Oh my god, the bash bug.
What
that is two bash bug saves.
Are you doing unit tests for like Moon Studios testing how close you can get the frog to the spikes? Good lord.
Well,
so that was really good. I'll let you go ahead and take that one. Wow.
That was quite something. Shed gonna float on up to Sunstone. He's, I believe, still in the lead because Ronnie is gonna have to pick up Charge Jump, and Shed is not. Already grabbed it. He did his Terror Break, so we'll have to sort of see how they come back together as they leave Sorrow and approach Misty Woods.
I think your analysis there is spot on. The very, very insightful, Rory, analysis, if I may say. Shed, I think, is still going to be in the lead because that's Crazy Juggle certainly gained Ronnie some time, but not enough to offset the lead that Shed already had. So Ronnie, he's going to have to sit through this skill tree animation, then he's going to have to exit and go all the way back down, whereas Shed, assuming he can avoid the insta-kill lasers, yep, there we go. That would be the sort of point where the two paths converge. And Shed has already passed it. So Shed maintains his lead going into Misty Woods. This is absolutely still anybody's game. This is crazy.
Yeah, and we've seen both of them have some spaghetti in the back half of Misty in both races. Like, The first race, Ronnie had trouble, and the second race, Shed had trouble.
That's right. Well, no trouble for Shed so far. He's just pulling out just a textbook demonstration of what is possible in Misty Woods. In this whole section, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't look easy. I'm sure it looks very, very difficult, but it's just very, very carefully planned out. Really, all the movements in this game are, right? Like, you have to plan, I'm going to do 2 dashes here. I'm going to do a charge dash. I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to intentionally burn an energy here. There's a huge amount of planning and foresight and practice that goes into this section, and to be able to pull it off this quickly and this consistently is very fun to watch.
Yep, and Shed just feathering down through these spikes. He's gonna come and grab the climb tree, and Ronnie is right on his tail.
That's right. Thanks to Snoopy saying he thinks there's about a 12-second delta. I think I looked at about a 23-24 or maybe 23-25-ish. Maybe it was 35. Whatever, numbers are hard and I'm bad at measuring them. Just the point is that Shed is in the lead, but the second half of Misty is the area where in the previous run Shed ended up taking a really nasty death right at the very end in the mini-boss. Hopefully we won't see that today. Shed with a nice meteor kick on the way down. Whoa. Jesus Christ, the save.
And I want to point out, I think Shed might have burned an energy at the start of the split.
I think he might be right as well. If so, I'm guessing Shed is aware of it, and it'll be interesting to see if it affects his movement. I'm also especially curious to see...
Oh, no!
No,
Okay,
he's alive. Oh, benefits of
jump.
4 health.
Yeah.
These spikes don't insta-kill you, and there's the safety save. Great decision.
And not only benefits of 4 health, but the awareness to say, no, I need to charge a charge jump here so that we can get back out.
But, like, so that's... wonderful that Shed is still alive, of course, but look at how close they are now. Ronnie, I think, got, well, he got some very, very nice movement, maybe even a bit better than Shed. So Shed is coming into the mini-boss. If Shed can get the clean kill here, he didn't get the fast kill. If Ronnie gets it, we could be tied again. Okay,
Oh, okay.
Look at that. We're tied.
Shed didn't have the same problem that he had last time.
But we are basically tied. Let's see when Shed's door opens. Look at how close that is.
Dead even.
Unbelievable. Just with that alone, Shed did not get the fast kill on the mini bosses. Shed also took damage, so Ronnie is now in the lead, and Shed at low health is going to have to be very careful. He's not going to get a refill unless he takes like 5-6 seconds to save with the Spirit Well, which he is absolutely not going to do in a race that is this close. Oh my god, the sync!
Ronnie dropped an energy too that I don't know if he was intending to drop, but they're both at 2.
I'm sorry, I'm almost interrupting you. Besides the health values, that could have been the same video feed.
Yeah. Shed now going to start up this long save anywhere. Ronnie's going to opt to not do that. Do a couple stomp cancels here, a little bit slower, but a little bit more consistent. They're going to lever glitch this open so they can get back through later and head on down to Light Grenade. Hopefully they get good laser cycles, and hopefully they're able to just nail everything. Did Shed take a death?
Shed took a death. He already is at low health, and he unfortunately got sniped by one of the slimes. That is pretty huge. Just like that, Ronnie's in the lead, opens up his save anywhere. He's through the cutscene. This is something that Shed is going to be able to do quickly as well. Shed died again!
Another death!
Oh
And
no!
this is why you don't do that long save anywhere. Because it's so hard to see what's happening. He just sort of fell right onto that Frankie at the bottom.
That is so tragic. The race isn't over yet or anything, but we were like exactly tied, and Ronnie now has enough of a lead that Ronnie's gonna have to mess up the war up a few times. He's gonna have to take another death, or he's gonna have to like fail grenade jump or something like that in order for Shed to catch up.
No. Shed's watching a cutscene. It's
Unfortunately, this is probably over for Shed. The mistakes alone might have been enough for Ronnie to clinch the victory, but with this, Ronnie's going to have to fail the escape like 2 times, which is not going to happen. So the race isn't over yet. We will see what happens, but unfortunately, that's probably it for Shed. That's sad. It's too bad that happened to Shed.
That is one of the worst ways to lose a race, I think.
Especially after the other deaths, that has to be pretty demoralizing for Shed. But I don't want to sit here getting too negative. I mean, we'll see what happens at the end. Ronnie is not done yet, and Shed has not lost yet, although he will probably lose here before the end. Ronnie, again, is going to be skipping health cell number 6, just as he always does, heading towards the horror door. Look at how long this cutscene is for Shed, though. It, I think, really puts into perspective how much time we save by skipping it ordinarily.
Yeah, that is, of course, one of the longest cutscenes in the game.
Well, Shed has made it to the tree now, so Ronnie has to do his door warp. Ronnie has, I think, gotten double first try. So I would not be surprised to see him get a triple first try, whereas Shed is going to head up. Shed, I'm sure, has no choice at this point but to just sort of do his usual strats and hope for the best. That's just, it's heartbreaking is what it is.
Yeah, that is not the way that we wanted to see this end at all.
Well, yep, Ronnie got another first try door. Ronnie is into the escape. He just has the final escape sequence from dungeon number 3, Mount Horu, between him and advancement to the semifinal, any match between either Elogimini or Sigma. Ronnie just has to get through here first and then not soft luck at the end. Meanwhile, Shed has made it out of the boulder area. Teleported back, is going to be heading over to Mount Horu as well. I would not expect to see Ronnie have any issues here.
Neither would I. There's really not much. There's not much that can really kill you unless you make a terrible mistake in the poison water.
That's right. Well, we'll see how it closes out. We talk a lot about it being over, but it isn't over quite yet. Ronnie's into the poison water, has to make it through without dying, bashes off the 2 fish, and he is through with 1 health remaining. 5 is the minimum required to survive that. He's going to be heading up on the wall, setting up for his grenade jump. Aim, and did not get it first try, but he can take a handful of attempts at this.
He has pretty much all the time he needs. So unless he were to soft lock there, which it doesn't look like he did.
Nope, no soft lock. So GG to Ronnie, taking the set of 3 in what was a very, very hard-fought series of matches. Shed, meanwhile, did also get I think it was a first try door. So out of these races, I think we got like 5 first try dwarves and 1 second try dwarf by Shed. So really phenomenal performance on both sides. I also just want to reiterate, while Shed is finishing up here, I wouldn't expect to see Shed have any problems either. Shed, going into this, expected to lose. In his own words, he expected to be behind at wall jump, and then he expected that to not change for the rest of the race. So for Shed to not only force a third match, but to keep it this close, I think is something to be very proud of, although it'd be hard to not feel a little bit disappointed.
Yep, I agree with you. I feel like at that teleport to Blackroot, Shed had a chance to win this.
Oh, he absolutely did. I mean, they were like pretty much identically frame tied. It was so close. We might have been like exactly synced again at the light grenade tree, but here's Shed on the wall, made it through his poison water. We casually like glossed over the whole escape, but Shed made it through the poison water with 5 health on keyboard, which is not the easiest thing to do. Got a first try door up and a first try grenade jump, so way to close it out strong, Shed. Unfortunate for what happened there right at the end, but I guess that's just the way that it can be sometimes.
What I want to see is what is the final time different, and is it less than the length of that cutscene?
That's a good question. That's a good question. We'll also see if we can get our guys in here for an interview. As always, it's up to the runners whether they do or do not want to interview, but we will find out shortly. So as we sort of wait a moment here, what are you feeling right now, Rory, as an impartial observer watching that?
I feel for Shed there. That is such a painful way to go out, I think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, still a phenomenal performance overall. Shed will be eliminated all the same, but holy cow. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the stiffest competition that Ronnie faces for the rest of the tournament if he continues. No disrespect to any of our remaining runners, obviously, but like, I mean, look at how close they were. That's insane. Just the whole thing is insane. That's the word that I'll use. Insane.
Yeah. This entire series was just incredible, I think. Shed pulling off the upset victory in the first race and then keeping it close, forcing Ronnie to just say, I'm going to play as perfectly as I can in both of the next 2 races.
That is right. I do see Shed in on deck, so he'll be interviewing with us. I want to see if we can chat with Ronnie as well, so I'm just going to wait just a moment, and then we can chat with Shed one way or the other. Shed also asked us in Discord how long the what we call the racist dad cutscene is, that long cutscene that Shed had to watch. Because yes. It'll be interesting to see what the final differential in the times was versus how long that cutscene is. I have to imagine it's pretty close.
Yeah, that was a time difference of what 72 seconds. I think that might be less than cutscene length.
You might be right.
I think that cutscene might be 75 or 80 seconds, but don't quote me on that, anyone.
Well, if it doesn't account for 100% of the difference, it's like 98%. I mean, both of them got first try door warp, both of them got first try grenade jump, both of them had pretty much flawless movement, the double rocket jumps out of the lower Black River Road area. So yeah, it has to be primarily due to that cutscene. Maybe Shed still would have lost, but it probably would have been a hell of a lot closer.
God, I just want to think, if Shed hadn't taken those deaths on the way to Light Grenade, and if he hadn't watched that cutscene.
Well, I guess we'll get to hear it from him in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and pull in Shed, and then I think that we will get Ronnie in a couple seconds as well. Hey, Shed. You're deafened, so you can't hear me. There you are. Now you can hear me. Welcome, dude. We will get Ronnie in here shortly. I hope. I just wanted to sort of start chatting with you in advance. I'm just gonna kind of throw it to you and just ask how you're feeling.
Dead inside mostly. No, I'm actually feeling pretty okay. I'm just, of all the things to kill a god run like that, of all the things, it had to be that cutscene.
Yeah, and you had asked. We do have Ronnie in here, by the way. So, by the way, welcome Ronnie as well, and GG on a very, very difficult, set of victories there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll ask the more directed questions in a minute, but yeah, Shed, like we were saying a moment ago, Shed, you just asked in Discord what the time is on that cutscene, and the delta between your final times. Ron, you ended that third race with a 29:52. Shed, you had a 31:04. That's a minute. Well, that's 72 seconds. So it's like, I don't know offhand how long the cutscene is, but we were saying
I think that would have done it. I think without the cutscene, I had you.
I think,
God.
And certainly the cutscene and the 2 deaths on the way to Grenade.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, Ronnie,
Holy cow, dude.
Ronnie, I want to throw a question to you. How are you feeling after taking that first loss to Shed? Were you feeling nervous, or were you feeling like motivated?
A bit motivated, yeah. More motivated than with first race. To be honest, 31s are became recently a rare thing for me. So I knew that it wasn't gonna happen again. I wasn't gonna let it happen again. So I was pretty confident the next races.
Sure. Well, basically same or similar question to you, Shed. Given that you won the first race, how are you? I mean, that must have felt pretty good.
It felt amazing. I don't know what is wrong with me today, but I am playing like godly compared to normal. And that first race, the first race, I was nervous the entire time, just like my heart was racing. But then the second race and even the third race, for most of it, I was like pretty calm. It was weird, almost like I was more relaxed.
Sure.
I almost wonder if that was because of that first victory.
Probably, almost certainly, I think.
You get a little bit of breathing room, you go up 1-0.
Well, I wouldn't call it breathing room against Ronnie, that's for sure.
Maybe not, but it's sort of, I guess, a feeling of, I can actually do this. When I know you said yourself that you were coming in expecting to get 2-0'd.
Yeah, I also said that I needed to play better than my best in order to even have a chance, and I did that for the most part. It was just each race I had something major that prevented the true 29 from happening.
Well, I have a question now directed at both of you, and arbitrarily, Shed, I guess you can answer first. Did you change anything over the course of the 3 races in terms of your strats or safety, or was it just basically reset and do another run?
I didn't change any plans. Part of my strats and plans, though, is that I have like variable strats I do depending on health and energy counts and if something happens. So like that third race in the back half of Misty, I had to pull out a bunch of safety strats because I was down on energy and at 1 HP. So I I just did those because I didn't want to die, because that would be worse. But I had planned to just do PB strats through that whole thing.
Sure. And Ronnie, what about you?
Yeah, after the boulder chase death in the first race, I took it like safer in the next races, and also in the third race, I was way safer than I usually am in PB attempts. I took way more safety saves than normal.
Sure.
Like
Well, Roy,
2 or
I
3
think-
more.
well, they paid off.
Yeah.
Roy, I think I'll toss to you if you have other questions.
I have a question for you, Ronnie. In both the second and third races, you got a bash bug on Crazy Juggle, and you saved it both times.
Jeez, dude, I didn't see that.
What was going through your
Oh.
head there?
The first time was extra spooky. Sometimes when it happens, like you can actually accidentally stomp the frog and you're done. The second time, I was ready for it because I know the platforms are buggy and cause that sometimes, so I knew like it was probably gonna happen, so I just bashed normally.
Yeah, it was a pretty ridiculous. I'm sure, like Shed, you'll probably watch this back at some point. It's in the second race. It was the second and third races where the bash bugs occurred. The second race, the frog like actually fell though, and so
Like the frog fell, and then he stomped down, and then caught the frog again.
Oh my god.
yeah, and somehow had enough help. That was that we were both losing our minds, Ronnie. That was well done on that. That was super cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, well, with what an insane. I mean, we expected that to be close. I didn't expect it, frankly, to be quite that close overall. So that was amazing. Shed, I guess, how do you feel about your tournament experience overall, and what are your Ori plans going forward?
I mean, I'm extremely happy with my tournament performance. The goal I set at the start was to make quarters, and here I am in the quarters. So I made my goal. Can't be happier. Halfway through this match, my goals like lifted a bit, but then they came back down. So yeah, I'm still happy. As far as Ori plans, these races are showing me that I have a free PB apparently waiting for me. So I might try and get that, but I'm also going to switch over to all cells and maybe go back to some of the more esoteric categories as well.
And speaking of all cells, the two of you
Oh,
are
yeah.
actually going to be facing this exhibition in a couple days. How are you guys
Yep.
feeling about that?
I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really fun.
I am too. It's my favorite category, so always a treat to run it, especially in a race.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the commentators for that exhibition match will have quite a bit more to say, but for anyone who's been keeping up with the tournament, you've now seen a lot of all skills, but yeah, that's not the only thing that there is to Ori, and all cells is pretty different, so we'll see some of those on Sunday, along with the other two round of 8 quarterfinal matches that we have are both going to be on Sunday as well, following that exhibition. So I guess in light of that fact, Ronnie, how are you feeling about the potential matchup between, well, not potential, the matchup between Elegimini or Sigma?
This is going to be incredible to watch. I'm not sure who I'd rather face more than the other, because they're both crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely watch that race.
And if you're not sure who you'd rather face, who do you expect to face?
I really don't know. Illa was capable of getting the world record, basically, but Sigma's times are like incredibly consistent, so it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, I believe that. I guess we'll know in a handful of days. I'm sure this point that I'm about to make will be reiterated on Sunday, but just to let everyone know, given that we're in the quarterfinals, there is not that much of the Ori tournament, all skills, no out of bounds, etc., 2018 remaining. So we're going to finish up our quarterfinal matches on Sunday, and then we're going to do the semifinal matches next week, with the finals planned for not this coming weekend, but the one after that. But that's all in the future. For now, GG to both of you guys, Shed and Ronnie, and thanks for talking with us. That was super enjoyable to watch.
Yeah,
GG,
GG, Ronnie.
Thank you.
GG, everyone. Thank you guys for taking it to Game 3. That was super incredible.
Pleasure.
That's right. That will about do it for us today. Thank you to Smashy for restreaming on relatively short notice too, and Griffs and Snoopy were helping us out on stats. As we said, that all skills exhibition match is going to be on Sunday, so we have no more Ori today, and there's no Ori tomorrow. I mean, you can go watch Ori, but there's no like official tournament matches until Sunday. So we will catch all of you later. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Damage as they head through. So, ooh, nice job. And wow, Yoko. Oh,
No, oh no, Yoko. Oh my goodness. Please be careful.
He hasn't taken any like really bad deaths as result, but
Oh no!
Why did I say that? Why did I say that?
Yeah, true shade. So we're gonna see what D2 decides to do. Nice safety save there, and wow, the value from the safety save.
The trick itself requires precisely positioning a frog and managing your XP, but because that can happen, because that froggy has a chair and it can stomp it right on your tiny little head.
Oh god, Milton, get out of there!
Holy crap, the recovery from that.
Like, it's deceptive. Ooh, deceptively difficult. Rufus,
Holy
so close.
crap, Rufus.
Oh,
Oh god.
Fix it.
And what is happening now?
I don't know.
Oh, Monkey's shot going through.
Oh, he's missed the double bash though. He's gotta go back up. Monkey's shots are facing the floor. I hope he does not hit that on the upper one. Jesus, broken his swamp.
Oh, Monkey getting hit by the shot.
Metal that Terra did. Oh, missing that, but he's got the backup. That's okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. Okay, try again. Just this time you can get to the one.
What you've seen from runners like Lucidus, UncleRonny, and Eviona so far in the tournament, and oh wow.
Damn.
I do not know how he survived.
Both runners getting that fifth.
Oh, Randomson had a really... Wow, what a nice backup, though. Randomson had trouble with the first spider shot, but now it's basically tied.
Go stomp the rocks. And oh,
Fluffy,
I
what
didn't know you could do that.
Oh,
You really just keep
goodness.
moving and skip that cutscene?
Oh god, Ori's in the air! Hello!
Oh no. Oh, Frankie. Frankie, please go away. Oh, that is so
no.
painful.
Oh, this is a party. Luckily, he does have a safety.
Yeah, mini boss not quite going according to plan. Melvin's gonna go with the stomp spam. Keep that frog away. Get out of here. Don't hit me with your chair. He says he gets through it okay, and we'll be just finishing up Misty.
The section is really difficult with the 5 health. Alright, he gets the bash off of the fish. So yeah, he gets through, but upcoming here is
He's spawned crow!
Oh, he died! Death! Richard is in the lead. No, they're tied. Richard just died as well.
What?
This is literally synced in the final escape, guys. Unbelievable.
They both stopped the thing together. Okay.
Each one of those grenades costs one. He's got one left. That's enough for 2 grenade jump attempts. If he keeps missing in that particular way, he's got one chance left.
One more.
And he gets it! The
First
clutch.
try, and well, not first try, but you know what? First try.
We'll call it first try.